All right, we're live. So there we go. There's those fireworks. Welcome back to the Unbridled Living in Costa Rica podcast. Today we're going to be talking about this strange phenomenon. I mean, it happens to people that move to Costa Rica. It doesn't happen to people that are visiting Costa Rica or while they're tourists, but seemingly after people move to Costa Rica, all of a sudden there's this transformation. I mean, without a lot of them even knowing about it or even trying. It's really weird. But before we talk about that, hey, if this is your first time here, I'm Alan. And hey, I've been living in Costa Rica since November 2013. That's 11 years. Traveled all over Costa Rica. That don't mean nothing. When you start living in Costa Rica, then you begin to learn and understand the people, the area, the culture. And so I've lived in over 25 different houses, locations, just trying to find my slice of paradise. And I finally did it. That's what I always advise everyone to do is, hey, man, don't come down here and buy the first thing or sell it in the first place. Rent a few months here, rent a few months there. Go all over so that you can find out, because as small as Costa Rica is, it's very, very diverse. So, hey, what do I get out of telling you all this stuff? Oh, well, I wasn't going to go there. Anyway, I don't get anything out of it except the pure joy and pleasure of just sharing my perspective. Hey, my perspective could be completely different from yours, and I love for you to be engaging on the channel here. Share your perspective. Whether you agree or disagree really doesn't matter to me. It's all about your perspective and respecting each other for what they believe. Okay. So anyway, hey, we're going to have a whole lot of fun today. Do me a big, big favor. Always make sure you hit that like button. Share. Make sure that you are very engaging. More questions you ask, more comments, the better. It kind of helps support this channel in a way without using money, so it can help the algorithm to say, hey, these folks like this stuff here. So, man, ask lots of questions. And so let's get on it. So today we're talking about, and hey, look, I guess before I get on it, I just want to say welcome. Always lots of folks hanging around waiting. And, I really appreciate it, because it's like there's Doug in Montezuma. Hey, give me a shout out. Let me know where you're from. I got Devil Dog, Doug Dillio, who a fellow Devil Dog Marine Corps dude. And there's Randy, who's always here, and Eduardo, that's always here. So we always have lots of fun. And look, you ought to come here and come early, because there's always what I call pre-game chatter, where we're having all kind of fun. There's Jeremy Brock from Wisconsin, Jan Isherwood from where you at, Jan? How come? I think my internet buffered. Hey, from Key West, got Shannon Griffith. Shannon's got a good story, man. Helped him out with a guy. He bought a place, found a great little place, and doing some building on his place. And I recommended a good guy. Evelina is here from Finland. Hot dog. So, hey, welcome, everybody. So let's get on it. And, hey, so today we're going to be talking about health. Do people actually get healthier when they come to Costa Rica? Well, I would say I'm living proof, but I'm not. You guys, if you hadn't figured it out by now, I'm a high-tech redneck. And those are actually two AI images that I created just in a few minutes and threw up there. So anyway, that's what I would look like if I was about 30 pounds overweight over on the left. And, well, that's how I'd look like if I was a little bit more buff. Well, I used to be about that buff. But anyway, after working for 2 years, I need to get back to working out. So anyway, these aren't real images, but they sure look realistic, don't they? But anyhow, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about how a lot of people have actually, when they come to Costa Rica, seemingly without even trying, how a lot of people actually lose weight. Okay, how a lot of people actually get healthier, and they're doing this all at the same time. So you're absolutely right, Evelina. I was never overweight. I have always. I'm a certified personal trainer. I'm a health nut. I don't think I could ever let myself get overweight. I'm a harsh critic on myself. So anyway, I love to work out. And look, I agree. Evelyn says the guy on the left really loves Allen's apple juice a lot. You're right. That's exactly what would happen if I was having way too much. But anyway, so, you folks, you chime in, okay? Because I've seen this happen a lot. I've heard it a lot. So, but I want to dispel, is that the right word? Anyway, I want to kind of get rid of some of the myths that you've been hearing about healthier food or organic veggies. I kind of want to dispel some of those myths. Not saying it's not 100% false, but so I want to dispel some of the myths and talk about, hey, why is it? You give me your input. Why is it that a lot of people seem to lose weight? And hey, like Doug says, he says, well, there is a lot of healthier food for sure, but you know what? Apple juice is apple juice. And if you drink a lot of it, you're going to have a beer gut. I don't care how much you work out. So anyway, tell me, what is your input? Because it is very true. Now, while I haven't gone and interviewed 100 different people, here's what I see and what I know, because I am a certified personal trainer, borderline certified nutritionist, did a lot of studying. So anyway, here's something that LV says. He says, food tastes so different in Costa Rica. That could be a reason, because if you're like a Cajun like me, and you're used to spicy food, and you come to Costa Rica and you have bland food, you're going to lose weight because the food just don't taste good. You're not eating as much. I'm not being mean. Some people love the food. It's definitely healthier, but it just lacks a lot of flavor. But for sure, it does taste very, very different in Costa Rica. But I love spicy food. I'm right there with you, Randy. Randy says, love spicy food. And I love fresh ingredients, all right? And, hey, Jeremy asked the question, do they have crawlers? We're talking about mud bugs. We're talking about crawfish in the rivers down here. I've never seen any. I've seen some little bitty freshwater shrimp, some little bitty freshwater crabs. Never, but I went to one place with a friend, and he had kind of this concrete tank, and actually had some crawdads in there. And but I don't think of anywhere. They do grow a lot of rice here, but in the United States, or I say in Louisiana, we have a double crop where we'll have crawfish and rice growing at the same time. But I don't know that anyone is actually raising crawfish here, other than that one little place. It was just a little bitty colony. I don't think it was on purpose. I don't know. Anyway, so here's what I think. In the United States, now, whether you believe it or not, a lot of people are dying, getting sick, getting cancer, and it's because a lot of our foods in the United States, extremely processed, has a lot of poison in it, has a lot of sugar substitutes that are poison. And we're lazy in the United States. It's too easy just to go right there, get it. It's fast food here, fast food there. You're growing up in the United States. You're working hard. You've got no time. The wife's working. The husband's working. Everybody's working. It's like, get off work, get something quick to eat, because nobody wants to cook. You're eating junk food. And so guess what? It's really easy to gain weight. And it seems like nobody is exercising. Everything is it's so easy to just drive wherever you're going. Well, in Costa Rica, while they do have a lot of processed food, it's not, you don't have near the selection, and if you do go to a place that might have the selections, for example, it's a lot of people love eating cereal. And if you eat cereal for your breakfast in the morning, man, that stuff is extremely processed with all kind of terrible ingredients in it, full of sugar. And so down here, you can buy cereal. It tastes awful. And it's because it don't have hardly any sugar in it, okay? So it's not going to be nearly as fattening. And they just don't have the selection. So it does make it very, very, very different, okay? And Evelina brought up a question here. Says, this might sound ridiculous, but who has more cancer deaths by percentage in the United States or Costa Rica? The U.S. is kind of like number one, 50% projected to die from it. So I'm guessing, of course, Costa Rica is lower. I've never have checked that. But hey, why don't you do a quick Google search, Evelina, right now, and you can give us the answer on that. Because, I really don't know. Now, Doug brings up a really good point. He says, look, most ticos cook with way, way too much oil and margarines, which are toxic. Margarine is a terrible poison. If you don't know, you need to stay away from margarine. Okay. Yeah, I think, from my last understanding and study, margarine is like one, I can't remember the word, but anyway, one molecule away from being classified as plastic. I mean, you take margarine and put it outside and a dog starving to death, he won't eat it. He just won't eat it. It's nasty. Okay. So, and it's like Evelyn says, in the United States, we're like a hamster on a wheel, except you ain't losing no weight. You just going around and around. So, so in Costa Rica, once you move here, and here's what I've even experienced myself, because I've traveled a lot and I've moved different places in the United States and Japan. And when you move to a new place, you haven't set up your routine yet. You don't have a lot of stuff. You don't have a lot of friends, and you don't have anything to do. And so you might end up exercising, just kind of burn up daylight, picking up some new hobbies. And so when a lot of people, when they come to Costa Rica, well, whether they're renting or buying, and a lot of them, I hope you don't buy right off the bat. I hope you rent, but then you in a new place and you get to go exploring. You end up hiking more. You end up walking more. And so just the fact that you're moving your body more than you did in the United States. When in the United States, well, hey, it's like you walk out of the car. You walk out of the house in the car, you drive to point A, point B, come back. You're never really walking. And then when you do drive to the store, you're parking in the handicap spot you're not supposed to park in, so you don't have to walk half a mile because you're just too stinking lazy. Okay, so anyway, when you're in Costa Rica, you got more time, because the whole point is to change your lifestyle. So a lot of people immediately, just because they're moving, okay, more than they did at home, they immediately are losing weight without even trying. Now, if you come down here with the whole goal of losing weight and getting healthier, then it does happen a whole lot faster. I've seen a lot of people lose a lot of weight 6 months in a year. They look in the mirror and don't even recognize themselves, okay? So, it makes a humongous difference. So when you come here now, let's talk about the actual food aspect of it, because look, as a certified personal trainer, I've trained lots and lots of people, and I tell them all the time, I interview them before I even take them on as a client. Okay. And I say, look, I says, I'll train you, and I'm going to teach you how to exercise. I'm going to teach you how to eat right. Okay. And if you want to have that beautiful athletic body, 6-pack abs and a whole 9 yards, well, then there's two things that requires to have a healthy body. You're going to have to exercise, and you're going to have to eat right. Okay. Now, if you exercise, that's good. But if you don't eat right, you're not going to get that beautiful athletic body that you might be going for. And I have hired, people have hired me out and told me flat out, Alan, I don't care what I look like. I like to eat, and I'm going to keep on eating, okay? But I'm exercising because I know it's better for me to exercise, and at least I can stay stronger. But I don't care to have 6-pack abs or any abs. I'm going to keep my beer belly, and I'm just going to exercise so that I can be stronger. I'm going to do my cardio so my heart is stronger. And that, my friend, is better than nothing, and that's being honest with yourself. So it's important that, hey, so let's talk about the food aspect. A lot of people, even without exercise, are losing weight because they're moving more, okay? 2, people are not eating the same junk they were eating in the United States. Now, obviously, There are a lot of people that come here and they don't make any change whatsoever. Okay, they come down here, they're trying to live their United States way in Costa Rica. They spend an absolute fortune buying the same peanut butter and jelly, the same Kellogg's and Fruit Loops, the same meat, the same grease, the same junk, and they just stay in their apartment, don't do anything to buy a brand new car, anyway. If you try to replicate your United States life or the life you had before you came to Costa Rica, well, probably nothing's going to change for you. And generally, those kind of people don't make it in Costa Rica. Okay. And Costa Rica generally is not for them because they get down here and they had these unrealistic expectations, but they try to replicate exactly what they had at home. They weren't happy at home. They're not going to be happy in Costa Rica. So it's kind of what Randy says. He says they're bringing their insanity to Costa Rica. Absolutely. So anyway, so as we talk about food, now Early says some people lose weight with less stress. And so can I say that people have less stress? Now, let me just say, when I first got here, I had a lot less stress in the United States. I've never have been a person that let stress bother me. Okay, I'm just not a stress kind of guy. But I can tell you, when I came to Costa Rica, I had a lot more stress because of the insanity, the change, because of how things work, how slow it took everything. So I had more stress in Costa Rica. It took me a long time to adapt and overcome. Almost killed me. But I do agree with what you say. Some people that come here, if they can relax, if they can chill, and they're getting away from maybe a stressful job, maybe a stressful relationship, they can begin to lose weight. So it does make a big, big difference. Okay. So anyway, and I'm glad that Doug brought this up because, one of the things I do like, because time just changed in the United States and there is no time change in Costa Rica. Man, I don't know who thought that was a good idea. That's just not a good idea. You're not getting more time. If you want more time, wake up early. just because they moved the time back an hour, you don't have more daylight. You still got the same amount of daylight. Just get up early. Anyway, that's my rant on that. So my point is that, hey, you know what? It's easy to lose weight, especially in Costa Rica, especially if you enjoy nature. As I often say, there's not a lot of stuff to do in Costa Rica. And when I say not a lot of stuff to do, in the United States, people are used to, every weekend, it's like, let's go to the theaters or let's go play putt golf. Oh, let's go golfing. Let's go do this. Let's go do that. There's 101 ways to entertain yourself, but it's not an activity that you can lose weight from. I don't care how much golf you play. I highly doubt you're going to lose much weight. It ain't that hard to swing a club. And I know I probably just made a few golfers mad, but I tried it once and I couldn't figure it out. I'm like, why is this fun? And then I was like, I'd see someone try to hit that ball and it go the wrong way and he get mad, throw the club up in the air and scream and holler. And I'm like, dude, you letting this one ball stress you out that much? You got problems. Anyway. So, in Costa Rica, you can have a lot of fun and there's a lot to do if you enjoy nature. Man, there are trails everywhere. Here's the problem with trails everywhere. The problem with trails everywhere, they have them, but they're not marked. So there are these undermarked trails. And so you got to get connected with the locals, find out where the trails are at. And there are trails all over the place. When I first came to Costa Rica, I used to do a lot of running. And now I'm in a place that's really difficult to run. And it's kind of, I've run thousands and thousands of miles, kind of tough on my knees now, but it's tough on my feet. But anyway, my point is, I'd go run all over the place and I would find some of the most beautiful undiscovered waterfalls. But I was running all over the place and hiking all over the place. I found some of the most beautiful places. So if you enjoy nature, go hiking. And you don't have to be a runner. You go hiking, and you going up some of these mountains, boy, you'll get that heart pumping. So a lot of people, in my opinion, that are going exploring, they're going to check out a trail that might lead to a hidden waterfall, a trail that leads to a river. I mean, it's just might lead to a gold mine. Who knows what it might lead to? But man, when you're in Costa Rica and you want to be adventurous, you'll be amazed at what you can find. The culture is just so very different. Eduardo brought out a comment earlier. I'm going to go to the top. And Eduardo said something here. He says, in McDonald's, you can get gallo pinto. Now, if you don't know what gallo pinto is, that's rice and beans with eggs in the morning for breakfast. And you won't find that in the United States. But yeah, you can get gallo pinto. So the culture does affect everything. And hey, McDonald's is known for doing that. When I was in Japan, they had several, menus catered to the locals. That's just smart marketing. But yeah, you can find different things. And, he also mentioned that in his opinion, that a lot of the kids in Costa Rica are way healthier, or a majority of them are healthier than the kids in the States. And that is very, very true. And a lot of reason that is well, in the United States, I don't know what's happened to parenting these days, but today a parent, kid starts whining and they take their phone and say, here, take that, go play a game, And so the phone is babysitting the kid. The phone is raising the kid. When my kids started whining, I said, go outside and cut the grass or go play. It's your choice. You go play. So, get those kids active in doing some things. They can have fun. But today, everyone just throws them an iPhone or man, they're playing video games. And man, he's been sitting in that sofa for hours and he's eating chips. And yeah, so in Costa Rica, that doesn't hardly happen because the majority, not all of them, but the majority of the kids, especially out in the rural areas, they don't have video games. They're not playing on mama or daddy's phone. Okay. They're outside actually playing cowboys and Indians. They're outside in the dirt with toys and Tonkas and, they're having fun. So yeah, absolutely. I agree with Eduardo that, what? Yeah. In Costa Rica, the majority of the kids are healthier because they're actually playing. They're actually doing stuff. Okay. Now, not being mean. Here's what I have recognized because, hey, it's no fact. It's no hiding the truth that in the United States, about 70% of the population is either overweight or obese. Okay. When I became a personal trainer many years ago, about 20 years ago, at that time, it was about 55, 60%. And it just keeps increasing every year. Okay. And, in Costa Rica, you can come down and, man, you can see some beautiful ladies. And I think just about anywhere in the world, a young lady is everyone's beautiful. Okay. But in Costa Rica, not being mean, but this is just what I've seen and talking to other Ticos, just as soon as she has a kid, poof, and they all get overweight. And what I've noticed is that a lot of Ticos family, the wife is terribly overweight, and the husband is tiny. He's thin. Why is that? Well, a lot of women in Costa Rica, they stay home. They're not majority of the, especially in rural areas, the women are not working. Okay. They're working at home. Their full-time job is at home. They're cleaning that house every day. Some of those women work hard. Okay. So I'm not saying nothing bad, but they stay at home. And what happens when you stay at home? You get bored. You're eating rice and beans. You're eating chips. And so you're bored out your mind. You're watching TV because it don't take no time to clean a small, tiny house. Okay, so but that's what I have noticed. I have noticed that a whole lot. And but my point, I guess, is that you can get fat and lazy anywhere in the world, and it's no different in Costa Rica. And a lot of them, they don't have money, so it's not like, not all of them, but it's not like they're going down to the local gym to work out. Okay, and so it's a little bit different here, and that's something that when we first came down here, you did not see a lot of gyms. You saw a few tiny gyms, and man, I had more equipment in my garage than they have at some of these little tiny gyms. Okay, and but now in the last few years, it's like right here in San Ysidro, man, as all of a sudden the gyms went poof. So if you're an entrepreneur and you want to make some money, wow, you can go to almost any city and build a gym, and the ticos that are in that city that have money, they'll spend money to go to that gym, and you'll make money. Okay, so anyway, just kind of looking at some of these things. Evelina put in an interesting comment talking about our current administration, saying that Robert Kennedy Jr. is finally going to raise U.S. food standards, which is awesome, to European standards. They're 30 years behind without banning all those chemicals, which cause, one out of every 32 people have brain damage with autism nowadays. And you're absolutely right. And that's all because we had such a crooked. We had so many crooked politicians in the past, and it's all about the almighty dollar. And that's why the United States is so unhealthy. Okay. So anyway, I'm kind of cruising along here and looking out. That's a thought there, Doug. Hey, I was talking about how the women are big and the men are tiny, and he says the dude is stressed from the tika woman. Well, that might be a thought, but the majority of men, they are out there doing some serious manual labor. I'm talking about cutting fields with a machete, and they're doing all kind of manual work. So a lot of the men are really doing a lot of physical work. So he's staying in shape. He don't have to join no gym. And the woman is staying at home, and like anybody, you stay at home, you're going to gain weight. Okay. So, and like William says, he does the stairs in San Ysidro waterfall. He says, I do the stairs at the San Ysidro waterfall. He's 61, and what a workout. Not sure which waterfall he's talking about, but hey, it's really easy to kind of change things. And a lot of places, you will have a lot of places to climb, a lot of steps, a lot of different things. Matter of fact, in San Ysidro, I think the only escalator south of San Jose in the metropolitan area is probably the one that's in the Walmart in San Ysidro. And it was really funny to go there because a lot of people were downright scared, didn't know how to go up the escalator. That's how very different it is in Costa Rica. I remember seeing a bunch of old people and kids when they get on the escalator, didn't know how to get off the escalator. And I can understand if it's the first time you ever done it, that could be a scary thing. So, there's a lot of things that are different, but you just got to get out your comfort zone. Kind of like Randy is saying. Randy does have some limitations, but he pushes himself to walk as much as possible. And, I have always been, I'm a health nut. So I'm always kind of guy that I've always parked in the back of the parking lot and walked to the store. So anyway, and of course, as in Costa Rica, there's not a lot to do. Soccer is their biggest thing to do. And look, a lot of communities that have their own little soccer teams. You can go play soccer with them. But hey, you can always find ways to exercise. Okay. Now, Adam brings out a good point. Says Costa Rica is way more stressful unless you're retired. I agree. Thank you, Adam. I think you agree with me because there is, my gosh, nothing is easy. Everything takes longer in Costa Rica. So in my opinion, I'm not retired. But I have learned to adapt a lot. Man, I have come a long way. But anyway, it can be extremely stressful, especially when you're driving. Man, Ticos, they ain't scared of dying. You should see the way they drive. Anyway, we're talking about how to get healthier, not how to die from a panic attack. So Anyway, hey, we were talking about the time change, and Rob and Laura saying, hey, we love that the sun comes up at 5 a.m. and it's down at 6 p.m. year round. It don't mess you up. And I absolutely agree. For me, I can almost set my clock to it because we're in the mountains. The sun has been coming up, but man, look, that sun comes over the top of the mountain right about 6:30. And about 6:30, I see that sun coming right over the mountain, and it's like, man, he just all of a sudden just warms everything up. But I love that, hey, I know exactly what's going to happen every single day within just a few minutes. I love that none of that ever changes here. Now, so let's talk about food. A lot of people automatically assume that all of the food is maybe organic or healthy. So what you have to know is if you go eat at a soda, and look, a soda is one of the, if you go to a soda, in my opinion, going to a soda, okay, so you got several types of restaurants. So let me just kind of name a couple real quick, okay, or three of the main. You got what's called a restaurant, and that's typically a restaurant where you sit down and go eat, but you got one that's called a bar/restaurant. Well, a bar/restaurant is more of a bar, but you can go in there and you get plenty of drinks and you can get food, but maybe the selection is not as big. And then you got something that's called a soda. A soda is kind of like a mom and pop's diner, and you don't really have a huge selection. A lot of time you have no selection. You're eating whatever they're cooking that day. It's like going to grandma's house. She's just cooked great big huge proportions and portions, and then she's serving everybody, okay? Sodas are some of my favorite places to eat because they're usually a little more flavorful than going to a restaurant, always a lot cheaper. But here's what you got to keep in mind. While you can have healthier foods to eat, it's like someone said earlier, I can't remember who, most ticos cook with a lot of oil. And they're not using virgin oil like I do. Okay, I'm really healthy. I'm going to use extra virgin oil. I don't know what's the difference between extra virgin and virgin. I won't go there. Anyway, most people are using the cheapest vegetable oil they can get, and it's not real healthy. Or they're using a lot of margarine, and you don't want, you go to a restaurant and they serve bread and it's got that deep yellow margarine. It's poison. So anyway, you do have to be very, very, very careful going to, well, you just have to know that when you go eat at a restaurant, they're not cooking it healthy. Now, there are a few healthy alternatives, and vegan restaurants, not real popular in the remote areas, or vegetarian restaurants. You can go places. Some of the bigger restaurants will have some vegetarian alternatives or options that you can choose from, but it's not a big thing in Costa Rica. But if you come to Costa Rica and your goal is to become healthier, then you can start looking for those things, okay? So anyway, just to give you some thought. Now, Evelina, I think, has answered my question. It says that virgin oil is just squeezed, mechanically forcing out the juice. Well, then tell me, what is extra virgin oil? Okay, so if virgin oil is squeezed, what is extra virgin? So anyway, I don't know what the difference is. Anyhow, but hey, like Eduardo says, I love soda restaurants because of the smell of fresh food, juice, open air. You can even look at what they're cooking. Yeah, and you can see how much grease they put in it. But it's typically very flavorful. It really is good. Hey, Adam says he pays $90 a month for gym membership, but it's probably the most expensive in the country. And I think he's talking about in Costa Rica. Oh, man, yeah, you can get gym memberships easy for $30 a month. Matter of fact, in San Isidro, they did not have a good gym until recently. They built a huge gym. I haven't gone to check it out yet. I've been tempted to, but since I live so far away, I hadn't. But I'd like to go check it out, do a video, and find out what is the cost, just kind of let people know. But it's top of the line. I expect it to probably be expensive. Shannon says that the extra virgin is the first pressing and is the and the virgin is the second pressing using heat. Okay, that's good to know. Evelina chimes in and says, it's the acidity. Extra virgin has extra control. Extra virgin olive oil has lower free fatty acid levels, less than 0.8% compared to virgin olive oil between 0.8 and 2.0. All right, that's interesting. I'm going to have to look into some of that stuff. So just virgin oil has a little more fat. Well, I want a thin virgin if I get one. So that's why I get the extra. But hey, matter of fact, let me show you. Right here. I got it right here. All right. Now, you know, it costs money to be healthy, okay? All right, come on, camera. Let's see. I go to Walmart and I get this right here. So it's great value, okay? That's Walmart's brand. Extra virgin olive oil. This thing is 3 quarts. 3 quarts. Anybody want to guess how much that costs? Okay. Man, this is great with popcorn. You know, I make popcorn homemade, man. I take the kernels, put it in that oil, pop that popcorn. Okay. So you can get regular vegetable oil very, very cheap. But man, you get this extra value, extra virgin olive oil. Does anybody know what does that cost? Okay. Somebody want to take a good guess? Guess at how much 3 quarts of this extra virgin olive oil costs. Come on. Is it $20? Is it $30? Is it $40? How much it would? We got a right answer already. Doug says too much. You're right. You're right. Wait. I think somebody's cheating. Evelina says it's $30. WP's cheating. WP's cheating. Randy says, is it $15? Jan Isherwood says it's $60. All right, I bought this just yesterday, I think. Okay. This is 22,000 colonas. Okay, that is $44 for this. That's not even a gallon of oil. $44. Okay, and I bought 2 of them. So that's crazy. And then you got the 13% tax that you add on to it. So I think Doug was the only one that was right. It's too much. But, you know, so it costs a lot of money to be healthy in Costa Rica. So if you're going to eat healthy, and I mean, I could buy cheap stuff, but I don't want to buy the cheap stuff, you know. But now, if you get you a membership to Price Smart and you happen to pass through San Jose, then you can get a lot of that kind of stuff a lot cheaper. I say well, it ain't a whole lot cheaper. But if you go and you buy in bulk, in other words, you buy several containers at a time and you make it worthwhile for your trip, then it's worth it. You can save a lot of money. And that's typically what I like to do. And it's like Doug says, he says, it's like buying butter. You can buy margarine for hardly nothing, okay? And the flies won't eat it. The dogs won't eat it. The only people eating it are the knucklehead people that don't know any better, okay? And it's $12, $13 a pound for butter, okay? And WP says, we make all of our own butter and dairy stuff is so expensive. WP, send me some. And I'll do you send me some on a regular basis and I'll promote it for you, buddy. I could absolutely, you know, I love fresh squeezed milk. If you've never had fresh squeezed milk from a cow, first time I had fresh squeezed milk, I wanted to marry the cow. I mean, that's good stuff right there. Woo! Man. So anyway, a lot of people, as we were talking about, a lot of people have lost a lot of weight. And it's kind of easy because, you know, in the United States, it's kind of hard to change your lifestyle. But when you come to Costa Rica, you start walking. One thing leads to another. You start losing weight. You start feeling better. You start looking better. You start exercising more. You start eating healthier more. You start looking for healthier alternatives. And before you know it, it's this snowball effect in reverse, where all of a sudden you go from a giant snowball to just really getting in great shape. You feel better. And what's amazing is because you've gotten in great shape, you end up living longer. Dang, overpopulating the world. Y'all got to quit coming down here. You're taking up too much space. So, man, now, hey, hey, I'm right there with Doug Dillon. He says, I need to find a dairy farmer and get milk and make butter and all that other good stuff. I've been thinking about talking to my neighbor. My neighbor gets up every single morning and milks his cows. That dude is 80 years old. And every morning he gets up, milks his cows, and his wife makes butter and make, well, I don't know, does she make butter? I bet she does. But she makes cheese. I said butter, but I meant cheese. She makes cheese, and they bring this cheese. They have some good cheese, So, hey, so anyway, that's my take. One more thing, and I'm going to answer some questions in here. So you'd be welcome to ask whatever questions you want. Eli says it. He says there are more walkable cities in Costa Rica. Might be an answer. A lot of people, especially if you go to San Isidro, man, the town center, a lot of people just park on the outskirts and just walk all over that place. So yeah, car culture is really killing us slowly. I agree with you 100% on that, So anyway, so I'm going to go through here. But one thing I did want to say is that a lot of people have this misconception that any of the vegetables or produce that they buy is going to be organic. And that is a huge, huge misconception that I like to debunk. So if you want to get organic vegetables, then you really need to get with the locals and talk to the locals. You need to get to know them and find out. And don't make the question of saying, is your stuff organic? Because you know what he's going to say? And I'll sell it to you for 3 times the price. And it ain't organic, okay? So what you want to do is say, hey, man, I'd love to see your farm. Can I see your farm? And you go see his farm. And then as you're walking around, be like, wow, man, you got beautiful plants. How do you keep the bugs off of it? And he'll tell you how he sprays it once a week to kill all of the bugs. And, hey, what kind of fertilizers do you use? You got some beautiful. And so he'll tell you all of this stuff. And then you'll know it's not really organic. Now, there are a few places. I lived in one place over in the Rivas area. And that one place I lived at, my neighbor, the guy I was renting from, he had an organic farm. And I watched him. He had all kind of different ways to attract bugs and stuff that wasn't with chemicals. It was sticky paper and all kind of things. So there's a lot of things. You just have to get out. Almost every town has a farmer's market. But almost every farmer is spraying all kind of chemicals on there so that he can bring that produce to market. But not all of them. There's a lot of little families that's not spending money on it, and they're trying, and they're selling their extras. So you can find healthier options. I'm not saying they're all terrible. I'm just saying don't be fooled, because in Costa Rica, there are some organic farmers market, but there's nobody that's enforcing it. I can raise junk, and I know I got a guy that lives down the road from me. Twice a week, I hear the machine, this massive blower. He's blowing chemicals one day and poison the next day, fertilizer one day. So anyway, my point is you've got to get to know, got to talk to people to find out who has healthier options. There's a farmer's market in almost every city where you can go buy stuff, but it's kind of hard to find it. Best if you want true organic stuff, grow your own. And that's what we're doing. That's what I'm doing, is growing my own. Okay. So, hey, I'm going to look at some of these questions. And one question here, Gary says, is how does an expat living in Tamarindo who lives alone Okay, so I was just reading Gary's question here about 911. How do you navigate that before we started buffering? Anyway, they are supposedly supposed to have an English-speaking person there. I've never had to call 911, so I don't know that. But yeah, it is a challenge. So if I were you, Gary, I would most definitely call 911 to ask them, hey, do you have an English person on staff? If I call and I have an emergency, I would go go and find out. Go and find out. That is a challenge that I wished I could answer for you, but it is seriously a challenge. Okay. So anyway, I wished I could help you with that. But my guess is at least learn a few basic words so you can give them your address and tell them that you're dying. And then that way they can rush their way out. Okay. So if you're single by yourself and you're having an emergency, I hope you got a neighbor close by. So those are some things you could think about. Like WP says, cream, cheese, and yogurt's crazy, crazy expensive. Indeed. Doug Dillo answers that question. First thing you need to do is move away from Tamarindo, because then you can save half your money. Yes, you are right. And then by moving away from Tamarindo, you'd save so much money, you could hire a Tika full-time to stay at your house, and if you have an emergency, she could call 911. Dude, Doug, high five. We just solved that problem. That's how you solve that problem. So anyway, now you could use a translator, but if you're having a heart attack, you might not be trying to do Google Translate or use an AI translator to help you out. But if you're having a minor emergency, that is a thought, Evelina. Oh, I see a lot of places he froze up. Let's see. Now, see, Mike, he says that he gets this brand from Spain. It's in a dark bottle. However, it is quite expensive, but well worth it. He says he gets some vegetables from Cartago, and man, it is full of pesticides, herbicides, and fertilizers. Unfortunately, a ton of vegetables that you find in Walmart and a lot of the main stores come from a lot of the gardens in Cartago. Okay. I'm probably even pronouncing that wrong. Anyway. So anyway, there is a lot of things. Let me take a look right here. And Evelina said he had actually spoke to a German expat in Costa Rica, and he said that he didn't believe organic could be pulled off unless they could do it in front of him due to the weeds and the bugs. Hey, a lot of people have their own take on it, but you absolutely can do organic. There's a lot of people say it's impossible. Guess what? I had a lot of people said it's impossible to do what I'm doing, and they told me it was impossible for me to bring internet here, and I did it. I love it when someone says it's impossible, because I love to prove them wrong, because you absolutely can. A lot of people might, let's put it this way. It's impossible to have organic if you're lazy. That's really the true statement. It's impossible to have organic if you're lazy. You can't be lazy, and you got to do some research. So if you do some research and you learn what you need to do in order to truly grow organic, you absolutely can, okay? Wait a minute, Adam. One person was saying that, hey, the cities are more walkable. It is true. It is more walkable, Adam. She didn't say it was safe. Because in Costa Rica, you might be walking on a narrow street, a sidewalk, and it's right on the edge of the cliff. There's no fence. You might be walking in the dark, and there's a gigantic manhole missing, fall into that thing and die. Wait, no, it's walkable. Didn't nobody say it was safe and walkable? You might die an early death. So you do have to be careful. Hey, Adam says, do you know you can buy raw milk? Absolutely. Man, I used to be drinking a gallon of raw milk a week from my neighbors when I was living over in the Rivas area. And so there's really a lot of places you can buy raw milk. You just got to get to know your neighbors, because a lot of your neighbors are milking their cows and they're making cheese and everything. So yeah, start knocking around, start talking to your neighbors. I promise you, even some of the farmers market will have raw milk. Okay, so you look around and you can find you some raw milk. And of course, Evelina was saying, hey, can you save money if you buy that same olive oil in Panama? Yeah, you can save a good bit by going to Panama. So, but olive oil, hey, virgin olive oil is just expensive, okay? Now, William brought up a thought. There's a lot of people that have trucks and they drive all up and down the road blowing their horn, and they're selling veggies and stuff. And he said he used to buy some veggies from the cars passing his house, and his wife told him to stop. So you don't know how long that veggies been on that truck. And there's some truth to that. You got to definitely look at your produce. But it does make it quite easy for you to actually buy some veggies like that. But if you inspect your veggies, you probably will be safe. But there's a lot of truth to it. You don't know how long it's there. So I'm kind of passing through here and I'm kind of looking at some of these questions. And if I haven't answered your question, be sure to put it in the chat box, okay? Like WP says, he says, hey, most farmers have raw milk. A lot of farmers do, and almost anybody that has cows, they're getting raw milk, okay? It is not uncommon for a Tico to milk his own cow so that he can have milk, okay? So yeah, I don't think you'll have a hard time at all finding raw milk in Costa Rica. And it definitely is the best thing in the world, okay? And, K10 Adventure says, hey, Starlink, it's $50 a month in Costa Rica. I now have Starlink after spending about $30,000 to get internet up here. And I was paying $250 a month. I was getting ripped off. I was getting the gringo price. But hey, I wanted to live here and I needed internet. And so I had to put up my own towers and create my own infrastructure. But anyway, with Starlink now, you can live anywhere in Costa Rica with no problem and have awesome, awesome internet thanks to Elon Musk. Okay. So yeah, absolutely. So I'm kind of looking at some of these questions here. So if you got questions, put them up there. Now, Evelina, Costa Rica is trying to create a problem. Says in Europe that we have ultra pasteurized milk, but it doesn't have any additives. Okay. And, I don't know a whole lot about that. I love raw milk. I don't think there's anything wrong with raw milk. That's just my opinion. I understand the whole health thing, but once you pasteurize milk, it loses a lot of stuff. And so I like raw milk. Now in Costa Rica, they have tried a couple of times and have tried to pass some laws to make it illegal to sell raw milk. Okay. The problem is Costa Rica has a lot of laws, but they just don't have enough people to enforce it. So you can always find somebody that's going to sell you some raw milk. And it's very true. K10 Adventure says that, he goes to Costa Rica for 6 months at a time. He hasn't needed to buy a car. There's probably times when he really could have used one. But he says this year he's taking the bus, taxi, hiking. He's gone everywhere. Caribbean to Osas, San Jose, Liberia. And you most definitely can. Costa Rica, one of the great things about Costa Rica is that in Costa Rica, man, you can get anywhere with their public transportation. You combine that with the Uber app, my gosh, it really does make it very, very easy to just to get around in Costa Rica. Now, Tico in Ontario says, buy the cow. Make sure you boil the milk and you're all set. I wouldn't even boil the milk. But if you're worried about it, then, hey, that's probably a thought. But you know what? here's what I would do. I'd have the cow just go out there, clean the teats, make sure it's good and clean, and then start milking. Okay. Of course, if you get a cow, you have to milk them every day. You can't get up in the morning and say, I don't feel like milking a cow. You got to milk the cow every day. Okay. So anyway, you do need to know that. And Ed says that over in Tebas, where he likes to be at, he buys from Carlos Vegetables. He comes in an open truck. He says everything is fresh. So there are lots of trucks that pass by. You can get all kind of stuff, okay? And absolutely, in my opinion, raw milk is way, way better for you. But the government doesn't want you to be healthy, so they're going to force you to get what they get. Now, Evelina asked me a question. Say, Alan, do you eat a ton of eggs because you don't eat meat? I don't. Matter of fact, I am pretty much, I'm vegetarian as much as I possibly can be. Once my garden is going, I'll be 110% vegetarian. Okay. I don't have any problem with animals. I think animals are great. I love meat, but as a health nut, it's just healthier to be plant-based. You'll be healthier, you'll be stronger, but you don't need eggs and meat to get protein. You take a look at a cow. Where's he getting all his protein from? He gets it from grass. So you can get all your protein simply from being 100% plant-based. You'll be stronger, you'll be healthier. Dang, you'll live forever. I mean, take a look at me. I'm 259 years old. Dang, I look good for my age. Hey, go plant-based, you be looking good as me too. So anyway, plant-based, you'll definitely. But hey, a lot of people don't want to. The hardest thing about being a vegetarian or plant-based person is learning how to eat. You don't have to eat all raw while you can eat a lot of raw stuff. You just got to learn how to cook, learn how to prepare. And man, look, I make the best vegan burger you have ever ate. I'm talking about, whoo, good stuff. And, so anyway, and you know what? Someone mentioned on here earlier about, now, Ely says goat milk is better. I've tried goat milk, but I just really prefer, I prefer a cow. But anyway, I don't mind it, though. I will drink it. But somebody said that raw milk doesn't go sour. I kind of have to disagree with you on that. Don't go sour if you drink it as fast as I do. But how do you think they make buttermilk? They let it sour. But raw milk does last a whole lot longer, okay? And it's so good. I remember one time, just a funny story. As a kid, we always just kind of shook up our milk. And I remember after I'd grown to be an adult, some teenager, I shaking my milk out of habit and said, well, you don't have to shake real milk. And I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about. Real milk, you have to shake, because real raw milk coming from the cow always has cream, and that cream will rise to the top. And that cream is really good. But if you have raw milk, when I have a gallon of raw milk in my refrigerator, every time I pull it out, you need to shake it all up. And that's what makes raw milk so, so good. Okay. Well, I'll be doggone it. It is just now starting to rain. I'm telling you, folks, I want to know who's messing with the weather. I mean, here it is, March 9th. It never, ever, I bet you in the history of the world, it's never rained on March 9th in Costa Rica. Adam says, don't go full vegan, Alan. We'll never hear the end of it. No. Hey, I say it's what you do to your body 90% of the time. Nobody cooks a better steak than I do. Okay, so every once in a while, I'll probably eat a steak. Hey, I'll probably never be 100% full vegan because, and I've been corrected a few times. Vegan is a statement. Vegan is I love animals and I don't want to hurt no animals. Hey, look, I love animals too, but God gave us animals to eat. It says so in the Bible. Okay, and I like eating a good steak. Okay. I love fish. So I'm always going to have fish. I love fish. I love shellfish. I love shrimp. Okay. But I'll always have that. So I'll be pretty close to 100%, 110% vegetarian, but I'm always going to have me a vegetable trout on my plate. He was vegetarian before I don't know if he was vegetarian or not. Probably not. He was eating crab, bugs, and tadpoles. Anyway, but hey, so anyway, you really can lose weight. You can get healthier way faster in Costa Rica than you can in most places. But hey, it's really totally up to you. And for the vegans, I respect them. It's their choice. There's nothing wrong with that. If you like to hunt, I loved to hunt when I was a kid. Man, I taught my son how to hunt and how to go fishing. So there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm the kind of person, it's your life. Man, if you want to pray to a doorknob, that's your choice, and that's okay. And I can respect your choice. So anyway, I think we should always do whatever we want to do in our life, so long as the choice you make doesn't force other people or cause problems to other people. Enjoy your life. That's what I do. I enjoy my life, and I don't push my beliefs or my values on other people. But if you try to con me, I'll sure call you out. Anyway, folks, I hope you had fun. I've always enjoyed, as always. Remember that next Sunday, can't be here. I got something I got to do next weekend. Okay, so hey, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you've got a pressing question you didn't get answered, well, you can put it in the chat box and I'll answer one last question. But hey, I always try to keep it at least to an hour. No one likes to watch a long video. But hey, I got some really interesting things coming up. So please, like Evelina says, hey, look, there's 33 people watching that didn't hit the like button. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. So, hey, hit that like button. It's great. It's a great way to support the channel. If you want to support us financially, I don't ever beg for money. You can do that by joining the members only community. It does help to offset the cost and the overhead of all of the software I use to really get you out some great content. Okay. But pretty soon I got some very interesting things are coming around that I can't wait to share with you. So folks, until next time, y'all enjoy Costa Rica. It's awesome when you can control your environment. And you might even get healthy. And guess what? Maybe, just maybe, you won't look like me. Man, that's 30 pounds overweight right there. What do you think about that? All right, folks. See you next time on the Unbridled Living in Costa Rica podcast.